So you talked about the KDE EV there. What is the purpose of the KDE EV? Like, what is their actual role?
The KDE actual role is to essentially ensure the financial sustainability of all KDE activities that involve money
Hmm.
and to act as a legal umbrella for KDE as an organization.
Hmm.
KDE is actually super duper boring. It's a lot of administration stuff, things like filing for trademarks
Hmm.
so that people can't call their software Kmail,
Right.
reimbursing travel and hotel expenses for people who go travel to development sprints, paying for server hardware for all of our websites, organizing Academy, our yearly conference, which is huge and not cheap, things like that, right? And in the last couple of years, we've dipped our toes into actually employing members of the community to work directly on KDE
Hmm.
software. We have, I believe at last count, 9 contractors and employees
Wow.
now. Yeah, it's pretty good, isn't it? And like I said, nobody's getting rich off of open source here. You know, all of us would probably all be off developing missile guidance systems for Raytheon if we wanted to be rich, but instead we want to be able to sleep at night. So we work on open source and accept less money. And KDEV is a very financially limited organization. I mean, if I had my way, we'd employ 1,000 people, but we don't have the budget for that. So I'm always looking for getting that budget up so that we can make sure that we hire more people
Hmm.
because I want there to be a career path for KDE. I don't know if you and your viewers are familiar with Thunderbird's financial situation.
Mm,
But Thunderbird
no, not
hired a new
actually.
fundraising person and they did a whole big fundraising blitz. And their fundraising went up from like 800,000 US dollars a year to like 7
I'm
million.
sorry, they had that much.
I'm not
Wait.
even joking. It's a crazy amount of
I didn't know
money.
they already had that much.
Yeah. Like seriously, they went up from about 800,000 to 7 million in the course of 1 year. Basically just by putting a banner ad in Thunderbird that said, "Hey, if you like it, please throw some money our way."
Well, I did
A
see
lot
when
of
they
people
shipped
used it
the
and liked it.
when they shipped the new UI, I did get a notification to donate, and I use Thunderbird all the time. Like,
Yes.
hey, have some money, whatever. Like, it's
Right. So
uh,
did I.
that is
So did a lot of
insanely
people.
successful.
And it added up to last year $7 million. So there's evidence
Jeez.
that open source can make money, right? Like I think, okay, if KDE hit 7 million euros or 6,500,000 euros, how many people could we employ? What could we do with that? I mean, it would be absolutely game changing. So if you like the sound of that, please donate to KDEV via our Plasma 6 fundraiser right now, which
Hmm.
hopefully the link to that will show up in the description below.
Yes, I will make sure to add that. One thing I will say about KDEV is it's a horribly awkward name.
I know it's really, really awkward. And EV is a German term. It's Eingetragener Verein, which stands for Registered Club.
Uh huh.
That is technically the legal entity under which KDE is organized. We have members.
Hmm.
We are legally required to act for the benefit of the membership. So when you sign up for one of these, 100 euro yearly donations, technically you're becoming a member,
Hmm.
and we are legally obligated to do things for you because you are now a member of our club. It's the big KDE club.
If I had my way, I would drop one of those E's. It would be a lot less awkward of a name. Just
Yeah, of course.
KDEV flows
KDEV,
much
boom.
better.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday it will become more appropriate if KDE ever decides to get into the hardware game.
Mm.
We can start selling electric cars, and then there can be a KDE EV someday.
When you
Just saying.
have not 7 million funding, but 70 million funding.
Yeah, 70 million. We can make the KDE EV.
How long have you been a board member for?
I've been a board member for a little over 1 year at this
Oh,
point.
wow.
Yeah, I was elected at the previous academy, which was in October.
Mm-mm. Why did you want to get involved in the board?
I wanted to get involved in the board mostly because I wanted to do fundraising and hiring activities. KDE had already been involved in a lot of expanding via hiring, but this was a topic that I was very passionate about. And I said, I really like doing this. I've been involved in the KDE community for a while. I think that by being on the board, I can help accelerate this. And I basically ran on that platform and was fortunate enough to be elected. And so now we have hired a couple more people in the last year. Unfortunately, we have to put the brakes on it right now because we have reached our budgetary level where we feel this is sustainable, right? We don't want to overshoot and then have to fire everybody because we run out of money. That would not be good. And that's one of the reasons why we're hosting this fundraiser right now, is so that we can make sure that our income stream remains predictable and sustainable so that we can continue to hire people, that continue to employ the people we've already got. Because we want it to be a career for them, right? We want people to stay in the community. Something that happens so often in open source is that people become really passionate when they're students. They have lots of free time. They work on it. They get employed, and then boom, no more open source for 10 years, right? That's what we don't want. Because when that happens, essentially the free software community is doing free job training for the private sector. Whereas if we can keep people inside the free software world by hiring them, then they can grow with us. They can stay in that community. Their skills remain embedded there, and they can train other people. You know, we don't become a free job training agency for somebody else. It drives me crazy how many people we lose because they graduate from college and then all of a sudden, you know, start to need money and there's no time, and then boom, no more open source contributions from them. It happens all the time, and it's not sustainable. It gets back to what I was saying before about open source projects need to be made sustainable. We have to think about this, right? It matters, because if it's not sustainable, it dies.
It's understandable. Like, I can't fault anyone for, getting, like, maybe I can fault you for getting a job at Raytheon. But I can't fault anyone for, going to, like, some dev studio, be like, oh, I'm going to make some proprietary applications. Because, if you need to pay bills, like, that's totally fair. But I do agree with you. It would be nice if, Red Hat does a great job having, like, a lot of people. They've fired a lot of people, obviously, recently, but, like, they have a lot of employees, and a lot of people they employ do get to work on open source, but, like, that's just... Even that is kind of just a drop in the pond compared to how many people are actually in this space who would like to get paid for what they do.
That's right. But the money isn't there.
Yeah.
And the money isn't there because we don't ask our users for it. This is what Thunderbird did. They essentially decided to do the bold yet obvious thing of asking their users for money, and their users said, here's some money, right? So I think that's a good model. You were mentioning before about how it can be very frustrating when a person using the software files a bug report, and the answer is, well, submit a merge request, right? Yeah. What if they're not a developer? There was a talk that I was watching recently from an Inkscape developer who talked about this, how it feels very unfair to be told that, because there's a certain level of sort of privilege and entitlement involved in saying, oh, well, just submit a merge request because clearly you're a programmer like me. Well, not everybody's a programmer, right? And how he was talking about how users can essentially be more empowered by being allowed to make financial contributions, because that's a way that a non-programmer can contribute. And it's not perfect because money is different. If you live in India and you're being asked to contribute in euros, those euros are much more valuable to you than a person in Germany who's being asked to contribute in rupees, right? Just due to currency exchange rates and, economic strengths. But still, the point is, if you don't have programming skills, making a financial contribution can be empowering. Even more so when you can make a financial contribution for a specific feature. Instead of pinging the bug report and saying, is this done yet? Is this done yet? Is this done yet? You can say, I'm willing to pay 100 euros to get this feature fixed. Somebody will show up and say, all right, 100 euros isn't nothing. I think I can do that. And 100 euros isn't nothing. But like, if you live in, a first world country, even a second world country, like you can probably find a way to scrape together 100 euros and then boom, your issue is fixed. So it can be empowering to be told, if you don't have development skills, try contributing or sponsoring a feature, right? We've dipped our toes into this recently by offering to facilitate feature sponsorships in KDE. Just a simple thing. We have a forum category where people can say, hey, I want to put some money into this feature. And so far, several have been done. A couple, like just in 3 weeks, several people have successfully sponsored features and bug fixes. So it works. It totally does.
Well, all you're describing is a crowdsourced bug bounty.
Yeah.
And bug bounties work great. Like
the low-tech primitive version, because we don't do like escrow or anything. There's no system behind this. It's basically just like a private contract between two people. But yeah, it's just like a one-on-one bug bounty thing.
Now that's actually really cool. I was gonna say something, like completely slipped my mind. When Katie wants to do like a fundraiser, so Thunderbird, when they did theirs, like, you know, they had the pop-up, they had like a thing open in my browser when I like upgraded to the new UI. When Katie wants to do a fundraiser, like they want to do like not just, you know, casual, hey guys, you know, we have fundraising stuff open if you want to go and do it, like actually wants to do a fundraising campaign, what is the approach that is taken?
So we have a whole promotion team that is involved in this sort of thing. I'm peripherally involved in this, but I am not personally making the fundraiser happen. But basically what they do is they create a web page, and then they work with the visual design people and the web people to make sure that it looks nice. And then they start promoting the heck out of it all over social media. KDE we have a presence on Facebook, we have a presence on Twitter and Instagram and all sorts of other social media platforms that I am not on, so I don't think about them. And we also promote it internally. I've blogged about our fundraisers and stuff. So, you know, we end up doing a pretty decent job of talking to the people who are listening to us. I personally think the next step is for us to do what Thunderbird does and start talking to people who are not listening to us, because they're users, right? They're not on KDE subreddit. They're not on KDE's Twitter. I personally do think that, like, if we do once a year, we show a little banner or a little notification in Plasma that says, I don't know, near Christmas time, right? That says, hey, if you love it, please donate.
Yeah.
If you don't want to, 100% fine. We won't bug you again for another year. And if you really hate it, you can disable the KDED module that shows the notification.
Yeah. I think if that approach is taken, you need to be very careful about it, because there is... So I don't know if you remember, a lot of people were getting very annoyed with Ubuntu, because when they were opening up their terminal, they had the message of the day. It was promoting Ubuntu Pro, which is free for regular users, so I don't know why people were complaining. But there's been other things they've done. They, you know, they had the Amazon Lens a real long time ago now.
Yeah. So it has to be done tastefully, for sure. I think there's a big difference between asking for a donation for a nonprofit versus advertising a paid service for a for-profit company. You know, that feels very much like an upsell, like it's intrusive, especially if it's in your terminal prompt, right? Because you can see this every day for the rest of your life. Whereas if we show one notification per year that says, hey, freedom isn't free, please donate, not like for, you know, KDE Plus, some subscription service or something like that. Just like, please donate. If you want to keep us financially sustainable, if you can, we'd love it. If you can't, that's fine. Keep using us. I think it's different. Again, you have to word it properly, but I think there's a big difference, and people notice that difference, right? Like, you're not selling them on a product that they probably don't want. You're asking for people's generosity in allowing you to be financially sustainable and continue to offer the software that they like.